everybody. It's a Wednesday. It's that time once again for Supernatural News. I'm Tim Dennis, and right across from me is that big old cuddly bear. I know your reputation has been sullied. It's been ruined. It's totally done now. It's Beer City Bruiser. Hi, Bruiser.
It hasn't been sullied and ruined. It's helped me being a big cuddly bear.
Well, I mean, not with underwater needlepoint. It really hasn't. I mean,
right.
How does it feel to step in the pool and have guys laughing at you? I mean,
Oh, they've been laughing at me my whole career. I just punch them in the mouth and make them stop laughing.
That's true. I guess that would do it. Boy, do we have a busy show today, Bruiser. I'll tell you.
That's what you were saying off air. You said we have a lot to cover today.
We have a lot to cover. It's been a busy week, especially with the old UAPs and the aliens overbite area, you know. We got a lot of that stuff going on today. There's a time traveler that's telling us we got to get out of the alien business.
Well, really? Well, you would know he's a time traveler.
Yeah, he's been there, done that. And I think that was a Dr. Dre song. Then we've got a brand new lineup on Discovery Plus. We'll talk about that. We've got, believe it or not, dinosaur tracks on the beach. But are they real? Really? Yeah, we'll tackle that. Plus, scientists have done it again. They've screwed up something sacred. That'll be
not scientists.
Yes, and Bruiser, it'll make you look at your pets differently for the rest of your life. We'll tackle that at the end of the show, because let's just put it this way: it is damn creepy.
I like creepy.
Plus, I've got an article here that we'll tackle over the next 2 weeks. 33 paranormal experiences people have had after moving into a new house. I figured, my friend, because you next week are going to be moving into a new house, I would just creep you the F out.
As you know, when I'm in that new house, all 33 of those are going to be going through my mind.
Yes, so I figured I would send you off to your new abode by sharing a few of those with you before you take off. Call it my housewarming gift to you.
Well, thank you. I love paranoia for a household gift.
Yeah,
a housewarming gift.
Yeah, that always is a good gift to give. So, but we'll start it off, of course, with the stuff that's been going on Capitol Hill with UAPs and different things that are surrounding what's been going on Capitol Hill. Believe it or not, there's been some ancillary activity around what happened on Capitol Hill last Tuesday, which, as you know, they got together. They all looked at each other and went, no, which is, I don't know. You figure it out.
Do you know? No, I don't know. Okay.
Which was kind of, I think, the biggest waste of time that ever could have been done.
Them wasting our time? Come on, Tim.
Yeah, I know. But
so efficient.
But on the heels of that biggest waste of time ever known as the congressional hearings on UAP and UFOs, Navy officials promised all hands on deck approach to investigating UFO claims. So the Navy's all about it.
Okay.
Last Tuesday, a congressional subcommittee held the last public hearing, or the first, rather, not the last. I'm projecting there, Bruiser.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. You're that angry about them just going, oh.
Yeah, it kind of felt like the last one. It's the first public hearing on UFOs, or UAP, as the government has reclassified the phenomenon. Again, we could just hit this button all day long. In over 50 years, as members of the Intelligence Committee and others on Capitol Hill look for an increasingly clear understanding on unidentified aerial phenomena. One Navy official has promised an all-hands-on-deck response to future investigations launched by members of the United States Armed Forces. Scott Bray, a deputy director of naval intelligence, was the one to make the comments at last Tuesday's hearings, suggesting UAP pose a significant threat to the country given their unknown nature. The quote is, "In short, we've endeavored to bring an all-hands-on-deck approach to better understand this phenomenon," Bray said during the hearing. Any given observation may be fleeting or longer. It may be recorded or not. I love the commitment.
He's covering all of his bases.
He is, yes. It may be observable by one or multiple assets. In short, there's rarely an easy answer. You commit to that, Mr. Bray, or Senator Bray, or whatever you are, representative.
It was such a senator answer, too. Like, he covered literally every aspect of that.
As Bray and his colleague, Ronald Moultrie, Ronald Moultrie, reiterated during the public portion of the hearing, there's been nothing discovered throughout the Navy's latest investigations to suggest UFOs are of an otherworldly origin. The hearing was set up after the intelligence community sent a report to Capitol Hill last summer detailing the most significant UAP investigations of the past 2 decades. Like the hearing, the report could neither confirm nor deny the origin of the UAP investigated. UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain, the report said. UAP would also represent a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms or provide evidence of a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology. It has become increasingly clear that unidentified aerial phenomena are not a rare occurrence, and our government needs a unified way to gather, analyze, and contextualize these reports. Representative Adam Schiff said in a statement at the time. Schiff chairs the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. At the time the report was released, the Pentagon said it had investigated 144 incidents reported by various members of the armed forces. During the hearing, Bray upped that number to approximately 400. It escalated quickly.
It really, really did.
Yeah. We've seen an increasing number of unauthorized and unidentified aircraft or objects and military control training areas and training ranges and other designated airspace, Bray added. Reports of sightings are frequent and continuous. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force within the Office of Naval Intelligence will continue to monitor and investigate such claims. So really, you just get the idea they don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Like I said, they gave an answer that covered every single possibility.
At least at that level.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, there is a one hand doesn't know what the other does situation in government. So there is a branch that has to know what's going on. But
and you'd think the Navy would be that branch because a lot of the reports are coming from the Navy or the Air Force.
Well, it may not even be the Navy. I mean, the Navy, I think, acts surprised when they see it. I mean, it seems like, you know, they either they know what it is and aren't worried about it, or they know what it is and are worried about it, or they don't know what it is and they're trying to report about it. And there's a branch higher that does know what it is and are just saying,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Mind your business.
Yeah, that could be. This is the first time ever in a report that I heard them admit that it could be a threat because of crowded airspace. Because you don't think about that. If our airplanes are all connected by radar, you can catch that on there. But these UAPs that are coming in very rarely show up on radar.
You know, that's the first thing I think of.
Yeah.
And simply because, and like I stated last week, Bruiser, and it's too bad I didn't have you on the show last week for Caroline Corey for A Tear in the Sky. Because I really did believe up until I saw that movie, 95% of what was in the sky was man-made. And to me, a UAP sighting is the most dangerous thing because, like you said, doesn't show up on radar and interferes in airspace. Yeah. And when you get two objects that cross that quickly in the sky, that close to each other, the danger is magnified. That you may have some incident in the sky that's going to injure multiple people. I'm
curious how many have happened that aren't official reports. You know what I mean? Like, it had to happen. It had to. Yeah. And I wonder how many times it's happened that it's not an official report. Because there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure there's. Well, you know what? If there's damage to, like, say, one of our fighters or a pilot, something has to be reported. Whether you make something up or not, it has to be in a report.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I wonder out of how many reported in-air collisions of however many years, let's say last 10 years, I wonder how many are attributed to UAPs.
Sure, yeah. Well,
but they said, oh, no, it was a seagull in its path.
That's probably what it is. It was, a gull in an engine or something to that effect. But could be something else. I mean, there's no doubt there was some other reason that was attributed to that accident other than a UAP. There's no way that UAP is being put into a report. And
I think that's where that higher agency you were speaking about comes in. Yeah. I think that's where they review all of it, ask, if there's survivors, what happened, what'd you see, and then they come up with the report.
Yeah. So on the heels of that story and what we're talking about, I have a story in front of me that says that U.S. and Russian military have fired weapons at UFOs.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. If it's an unknown object in your airspace and you're trying to reach it, again, doesn't show up on radar or whatever, of course they're going to fire upon you.
An expert says after that bombshell hearing we were talking about, there's some record encounters that have been out there, and that the U.S. and Russia have fired at UFOs. This leading expert told The Sun with 100% certainty, despite officials' claims to the contrary. Officials say we haven't fired on these things, that we've just let them roll by in peace.
Which doesn't make any sense to me, because they're told, if it enters this airspace, you give it a warning.
Yep.
I don't know how many warnings they do, and then fire.
Yep. And then you fire.
That's security. That's not. You know what I mean? That's not an act of war. That's security for your airspace, especially over military bases and training grounds.
Yes. The question was posed to Scott Bray, the Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence, during that hearing on Tuesday. And I assume we've never discharged any armaments against the UAP, correct? Illinois Representative Raja Krishna Northey, I believe it is, asked Bray. That's correct, Bray responded. The issue was dropped, but the back and forth stuck with Jeremy Corbell, who spoke to The Sun after the hearing. Corbell, who has been a leading force behind the movement to get Congress to hold this hearing, was the only citizen mentioned by name during the discussion. Mr. Corbell and others have been collecting data on that issue for years, Congressman Andre Carson said. Corbell disagrees with the denials made on the last Tuesday. I can tell you with 100% certainty that we and other countries like Russia have fired upon UFOs, Corbell told The Sun. And I'm talking recently and regularly with an increased frequency. Corbell also claimed that the hearing's witnesses, Bray and Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security Ronald Moultrie, seemed to either sidestep questions by saying they'll discuss them in a private session or got them wrong, including that in disarming armaments. The witnesses were either uninformed, misinformed, or were lying, he said. I think they did the best job they could under the parameters they had, but they were a little daft on certain issues. Corbell and investigative reporter George Knapp obtained and released a trove of unseen and at the time classified reports and Pentagon corroborated visual evidence of UFOs in May of 2021. The evidence included, among other things, the Navy's radar video, thermal imaging video, and the video from the battleship's deck of the swarm of UFOs circling above in July of 2019. That shook some trees, Corbell said. Knapp believes that government officials were stunned by what they've heard from military witnesses and longtime investigators. Coincidentally or not, the government released its preliminary report on UAPs a month later. Well, they kind of had to at that point.
Well,
yeah. The June 2021 report included over 140 unexplained military encounters going back to 2004, but it didn't seem to provide a lot of information. But Corbell read between the lines and said there were important takeaways he had from the report and called it a turning point in how the public viewed UFOs. One, he said, these incidents included physical objects that the U.S. government admitted outperformed and outmaneuvered America's greatest weapon systems. Two, Corbell said, the government admitted what they saw wasn't secret U.S. technology or any known technology of America's adversaries. Science fiction is now science fact, Corbell said. Human knowledge expands a little bit every day, and that's what we're seeing now. Since the June 2021 report was released to the public, Bray said during the hearing that there are about 400 reports of UFO sightings, like we stated in the last story. The stigma has been reduced, Bray said. We've also made progress in resolving the character of a limited number of UAP encounters. That's part of why Congress held last Tuesday's hearing in the public, although some answers were discussed behind closed doors. It was still the first time Congress held a public hearing on UFOs since 1969, when it was announced the termination of Project Blue Book, an Air Force program that was investigating UFOs. So Corbell believes that we fired on them and seems to, I don't want to say have evidence to the contrary, but knows of evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And you'd think, like I said, they're not. If the military has all the procedures to go through. If something enters, airspace, they give you warnings. Eventually, they're going to fire on you. And anytime they fire the weapons, they have to make a record of it.
Right.
So there's probably records out there of them firing on something they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's your proof.
Right.
Not saying it's a, alien or all that. It's just they fired upon something they couldn't identify.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Bruiser, a hacker who broke into NASA's computers to find proof of UFOs claims he discovered a picture of a mysterious alien craft shaped like a cigar. Sometimes a cigar isn't a cigar, Bruiser. Okay. Amongst thousands of other photos. Brit cyber sleuth Gary McKinnon was accused of perpetrating the biggest military computer hack of all time when he broke into 97 U.S. government computers.
Oh.
Yeah, he was busy.
Oops.
Yeah, a little bit. U.S. prosecutors wanted him jailed for up to 60 years.
Don't jail him. Make him work for us for security.
Exactly, yeah. But his extradition from the UK was blocked after a 10-year legal battle, and he remains a free man. He's now 56 years old. Gary said he did no harm and was merely looking for evidence that the U.S. government was actively covering up UFOs. And he told the Sun Online what he found left him gobsmacked as he stumbled across thousands of photos during his cyber sting. It's a fact that there are objects we don't understand flying around in our skies. It's also a fact there are scientific intelligence and military departments. They're not necessarily intelligent. I gave him too much credit there. That study these objects, Gary said. Gary, known as Solo online, see what he did there? He used a Star Wars reference.
Star Trek reference.
Not Star Trek, Star Wars. You're going to piss
I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I know that pisses people off. And in fact, Han Solo is my favorite character in the whole series. So.
There you go, yeah. Claims to have found one particularly striking photograph, an image of a cigar-shaped, non-man-made craft captured in a satellite photo. It appeared to be a very close-up image of the object in space with strangely shaped domes on all sides.
Oh.
Yeah. The image was the only one Gary managed to see himself before he lost the connection. But in the files, he says there were thousands more photos. Gary was attempting to prove an account by former NASA employee Donna Hare, who claimed satellite images were often scrubbed of UFO evidence at the Johnson Space Center. He claims he found 4 folders which were called filtered, unfiltered, processed, and raw in the systems at the facility's Building 8.
There's also the alien sexy pics.
Yes.
He didn't click on that folder, though.
Alien dick pics.
Alien dick pics and alien tit pics. See, they had separate files.
Yeah, they did. Well, you got to please one, other, or the both. I mean,
exactly.
It takes all audiences to.
He clicked on it and went, "Whoa! What are these bloody Americans doing?"
Thanks to his painfully slow 56K dial-up connection.
Oh, come on.
Can you imagine trying to look through those photos with that?
Oh, the geek, because it's loading the picture pixel by pixel.
Yeah, and he's like, come on already, come on.
How embarrassing is that for our government that we got hacked by a 56K modem? How could we not catch this guy? He's literally working in 1999.
Well, I think this happened a while back, but still, 56K dial-up. I mean, oh, geez. He says he only managed to get the one image out of the folder before his remote connection cut, and he lost the chance to print screen.
That's because it took him 4 hours to get that one picture.
Oh, my God, I bet. I was absolutely gobsmacked, and those folders had thousands more images. That would have took him weeks.
His whole life. He would be on his deathbed going, delete my search history. Now it's 56K. That's
56K.
For you young fans out there, back when the internet was created, we used to have to do what's called dial-up, where we'd put our phone on a modem and it'd go, That was 56K.
It made it sound like you were kicking a donkey repeatedly in the hindquarters. Yeah.
Yeah. If you wanted to take a selfie and send it to somebody, they would literally have to set 8 hours of their day aside to print that picture.
My God. Gary McKinnon, there's a quote here from him. Disclosure comes from witnesses, not the military or the government. All they give us is lies, he says. Well, disclosure for you, my friend, is going to take decades at 56K. I'll tell you that.
That's why he didn't want to go to 5G, because he figured they're lying to him about it. Faster internet speeds? That's bullshit.
I'm not jumping on your lines. You're just going to trace me back. Now as the discussion around UFOs ramp up following that public hearing, Gary's hack and what he claims to have found are once again in the spotlight. Gary, however, does not think the new wave of interest will lead to much further disclosure, and he has doubts about the motivations behind it. The hearing is not significant at all for disclosure. These hearings, discussion panels, and the like are never fruitful for disclosure, he said. We mustn't forget the military mindset. The unknown is either a potential threat or a potential tool to be used. Disclosure comes from witnesses, not the military or the government. All they give us is lies, as I said before. That was his quote. He believes the U.S. are covering up information on UFOs either because the craft are so advanced they are beyond human comprehension, or they have managed to extract secret tech from mysterious objects which they want to keep hidden. The Sun Online has been to NASA for comment. And guess what? They opened up everything. They just gave him a bunch of information and said, you got us.
Yep. Oh, here's all those photos he was talking about. We're even going to give you the special folders.
By the way, here's the alien dick pics. What do you think? Surprisingly, they don't lean left or right. They're straight on like an arrow.
And you know what? No female aliens want to get a male alien dick pic either.
That's right. So it's the same across the universe.
It is. It's like, wow, don't send dick pics.
Gary believes he proved Hare's story and considers his hack as mission accomplished. But what followed was 10 years of hell as the U.S. attempted to get him to face the music. Gary was arrested in 2002 and again in 2005 at the request of the U.S. He was interviewed by cops and accused of committing $700,000 worth of damage. Oh. He got one pick at 56K. That's 700 grand.
Yeah, it sure is. It's the government.
And
so it's probably $5 for the photo, and then another $695,000 for the employees that have to find out where that photo went.
He'd have been better off calling an 800 sex line and just putting them on hold for a year. But and then he was also accused of interfering with the U.S. Air Force files on September 11th of 2001. Sound familiar?
Yeah, I thought that date oddly familiar.
Yeah. U.S. officials accused him of breaking into dozens of U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Department of Defense computers, as well as 16 NASA computers, and even taking down a network of 2,000 machines on 56K.
Man, well, yeah, but that was 2001 when he did that, or no? It doesn't have a date?
It doesn't have a date.
Still, 56K, like, that's impressive.
It is.
Okay, why are we not hiring this guy?
He did all this
with 56K.
With his little Commodore 64. He took down 2,000 machines.
Like, if we want to figure out a hacker, because you've heard that, they if a really good hacker gets into something, they usually hire them because then it's good security.
Yeah.
This dude did it on 56K. Can you imagine what he can do with 5G?
That'd be amazing. He faced decades in prison if convicted and believed authorities would even have tried to execute him for his actions.
What?
Firing squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All because he got a sexy picture of a cigar.
Yep. I would have had a very hard time, and they promised to punish me to the max if I didn't consent to extradition. One of them even said they wanted to see me fry in reference to the electric chair.
Over
a cigar pick.
Yeah.
The UK government agreed to extradite him in 2006, leading to years of appeals and a high-profile campaign. He won his battle for freedom in October of 2012 when Home Secretary Theresa May blocked his extradition, citing his Asperger's syndrome. There you go.
Okay.
Then 2 months later, Director of Public Prosecutors Keir Starmer confirmed he would not be prosecuted in the UK. So there you go. Gary insists his motives were harmless, and he claims he was only able to break into the machines as they relied on unsecured versions of Windows. That's your military for you, folks.
Yep.
That's why we're never getting that's why we're not getting disclosure, because we do stuff like unsecured version.
So they literally did what like a family of 5 does. They buy 5 computers but 1 Windows software.
That's right.
To share among
There's
the 5
only
computers.
One antivirus on all the computers. And that's how it ends up.
NASA's like, we have 1,000 computers. Cool. Give me 4 Windows virus protectors.
That's it. Yep. We'll use Defender on the rest of the stuff because that'll be good enough. It comes with the computers. We'll buy 1 McAfee software and we'll pray that the rest don't get hacked. And that's our U.S. military for you.
Yep. And we wonder why Bill Gates is a billionaire.
That's right. Meanwhile, back at the Batcave, NASA is puzzled by mysterious signals coming from their Voyager space probe. It just keeps getting better and better.
They're just stand up. You got articles today to make NASA and the U.S. government look great, Tim.
Well, I'm waiting for them to come after me. That's what it gets down to today.
This guy made fun of us. Let's go get him.
He tried to hack us on his Apple II computer from a 56K. Oh my God.
Who forgot to protect from dial-up?
Yep. Guess what, guys? I got McAfee on my computer. You can't prove it.
I'm just going to upload Oregon Trail to all your computers. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you'll end up dying of dysentery. NASA engineers are trying to solve a mystery taking place on its Voyager 1 spacecraft. The space probe is apparently sending signals that don't reflect what's actually happening on board.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, NASA, hire the guy that you're looking for with the 56K and see if he can figure it out.
Yeah, I think you've been hacked. NASA said that the Interstellar Explorer was operating normally otherwise, receiving and executing commands from Earth. While the spacecraft continues to gather and send science data and otherwise operate as normal, the mission team is searching for the source of the issue. The problem seems to be the Voyager 1's attitude articulation. That's most teenagers, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's just because the Voyagers, they're 14 going on 23.
Yeah, exactly. And control system, by the way, that's out of control as well, which controls the 45-year-old spacecraft's orientation. Well, that's a midlife crisis.
Yeah, he's just going through a midlife crisis. He wants to, get the Voyager a Corvette. Everything will be okay.
He just needs a hot chick and a Corvette.
Yep, a blonde and a Corvette. We're good.
Yep. It's what keeps the probe's antenna pointed precisely at Earth, enabling it to send data home. Well,
that's the problem too. He's 45, and when you get older, it doesn't point as straight.
That's right. It doesn't point as straight, and sometimes it needs a little help.
Yeah. So maybe we send something up. I mean, Blue Chew's all over the place.
That's right. Blue Chew. Where is Blue Chew when we need him?
Yeah.
We need him on the show.
If we get this 56K guy in Blue Chew, we're all good. Tim, we just fixed it. We fixed the problems. Look at us.
That's right. Go to bluechew.com, NASA. Blue Chew. I'll do my best Bruce Buffer impression. All signs suggest that the AACS is still working, but the telemetry data it's returning is invalid. Oh, that's what she said. Engineers are baffled by Voyager's seemingly randomly generated signals that do not reflect any possible state the AACS could be in. In spite of the issue, Voyager 1's signal hasn't weakened. Well, that's what he's trying to tell you, which suggests its antenna remains in its prescribed orientation with Earth. Mysterious signals from space might seem sinister, but NASA's engineers don't think it's out of the ordinary. A mystery like this is sort of par for the course at this stage of the Voyager mission, said Suzanne Dodd, who just gently petted Voyager on the head and said it was okay. She still loved him for who he was. She's also the project manager for Voyager 1 and 2 at the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
NASA's just mad because the Voyager 1 unfriended on Facebook, blocked on Twitter, and doesn't follow him on Instagram.
That's true. Yes, very much so. The spacecraft are both almost 45 years old, which is far beyond what the mission planners anticipated. We're also in interstellar space, a high radiation environment.
We built something that works. What do we do now?
Yeah, whoops. We ain't playing for that. We're also in interstellar space, a high radiation environment that no spacecraft have flown in before, she added. Oh, so he's old and he's taking chances. Yep. See, yeah, there's that.
Midlife crisis.
Yep. NASA's team will continue to monitor the signal closely as they continue to determine whether the invalid data is coming directly from the AACS or another system. It's possible the team may not find out the source of the anomaly and will instead adapt to it. Oh, so, it's kind of like a, peg leg and a limp.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we got it then. Yeah.
They just need to worry when Voyager gets that Corvette, leaves his wife for the 20-year-old blonde, and then just starts taking random vacations.
That's right. Meanwhile, there's another meanwhile. Yep. Never before seen photos have revealed an extraordinary wedge-shaped impression and oval imprints left in a grass field by UFOs during a famous 1994 sighting witnessed by more than 60 school children in Zimbabwe.
Oh.
The mystery deepens here.
The aliens were just trying to help with their geography or geometry.
Geography too, sure. They're helpful. Just ask them to help with their schoolwork. They'll do whatever. At this point, they're like,
we're over here. Why can't you people see us? Jesus Christ, you're blind.
New photos show imprints in a field left by an alleged UFO that was seen by over 60 witnesses in a famous 1994 sighting in Zimbabwe. A whole class of children at the aerial school in Rua drew, that's what Roman Reigns says every time he winds up for a spear. It's Rua!
Yeah, he's paying homage to his former alma mater.
Yes, over there in Zimbabwe. Drew media attention nearly 30 years ago after they said they had seen a disc-shaped craft land in a field behind their playground one Friday morning in September of 1994, and some even said they saw humanoid beings come out from the craft and communicate with them.
Oh.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, helping with their homework.
Yeah, they said,
what homework do you have?
This is a square. This is a triangle.
I really hate this new math.
The aliens are even complaining about
new math. We're billions of years old. We've never changed our math.
Can't you people just do times tables like regular people?
A Pulitzer Prize winning head of psychiatry at Harvard interviewed many of the 62 children at length shortly after and concluded they were telling the truth. Now adults, they have all stuck to their stories for decades. Or now that they're adults, they've all... Wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes.
Previously unseen photo evidence has been shared with DailyMail.com ahead of the release of a new documentary, Aerial Phenomenon. It's this button.
Phenomenon.
Exactly. About the astonishing incident. The stunning revelation also comes as interest in UFOs is growing in the United States. Oh, you should see one of the kids' drawings.
Oh, they drew about it, huh?
Yeah, there's a giant flying saucer in the middle of 5 giant woolly penises. It's intriguing. I don't know what that's all about, but hey.
That's him saying those aliens were a bunch of dicks. They got it back on the plane.
That's right.
What they look like? I don't know, but they were dicks, man.
They were giant dicks, man. There was no recess at school.
We could have played kickball.
We hate kickball.
Alrighty then, we're leaving.
On Tuesday, a congressional subcommittee held the first public hearings into unidentified aerial phenomena. We talked about that, of course. In December, Congress passed a new law mandating a government UFO office to investigate such incidents. The aerial incident is one of the most prized UFO cases among researchers who say that the scores of witnesses, their contemporaneous accounts, I know I read that wrong, and even striking drawings of the alleged craft and beings drawn the same day make for a very compelling, if unsettling, story. The one element that had been lacking in the extraordinary case was physical evidence that something had landed in the schoolyard that morning, but now DailyMail.com can reveal photographs of wedge-shaped impressions in the rock-hard soil and an oval indentation in the long grass allegedly left by the craft. Photographer Gunter Hofer was the one of the first on the scene to document what happened and shared his photos with DailyMail.com. And they actually are pretty impressive. I mean, you can definitely see the indentations and whatnot. So Hofer did go on to say, I couldn't find anything in the area where many of the children had seen a craft. It was difficult as the ground was already flat. There was no grass on and the surface was very hard, but some of the children described seeing a craft in a separate location on the savanna, which is where I found impressions in the grass. I found 2 oval shapes, one smaller and one larger. I also found what looked like a wedge-shaped marking in the ground, and something had pushed in. Hofer was first alerted to the incident the day it occurred by the BBC's man in Zimbabwe. Leach accompanied him and local UFO researcher Cynthia Hind to interview the children the following Tuesday. Cynthia asked the headmaster if kids could draw what they had seen while it was fresh in their minds. There was a very palpable atmosphere of excitement and, of course, also confusion over what it could possibly be. Most of the descriptions we got from the kids were very consistent of a short-looking being, he added. A lot of them described very large eyes. They couldn't describe the clothing exactly, but one of them said it reminded them of a diving suit because it was tight-fitting.
That makes sense. It's a spacesuit.
Yeah. News of the strange encounter spread and media flocked to the school to cover the story. Subsequent retellings focused on the children's account of 4 craft hovering and landing at the far end of the schoolyard, beings emerging and even telepathically communicating with them. But Hofer realized that some of the children had also seen UFOs the day before on the other end of the campus, and even led them to discover the physical evidence. We noticed some of the kids drew 2 objects. One object looked like a cigar, and they labeled that Thursday. Evidently, there's days for the UFOs, like their underwear. Who knew? They then drew what they saw on Friday the 16th, which looked like more of a disc-like oval-shaped object. Hofer said 2 boys told them that on Thursday, September 15th, they saw a craft with flashing lights flying above the power lines at the other end of the playground. It was moving, disappeared, instantly reappeared somewhere else, and then vanished. It was in that location that he found the flattened grass and wedge markings. The earth there was rock solid due to a long drought in Zimbabwe, so whatever made that mark really dug in hard. Interesting.
I'm curious what the alien said to him telepathically, because he said some of them claim telepathic communication. I'm curious.
My guess is,
When's lunch?
the area where the 2
We
oval...
just flew in and our arms are tired.
Boy, it's been a long trip. You kids got anything to drink? Beer?
The area where the 2 oval impressions were spotted was inaccessible to vehicles, although cattle could access the area. The largest shape was about 30 feet long, and there were no imprints to suggest cows walking through. They were looking for more hamburger.
Yeah, no cow's going to sit and walk in a circle for 30 feet to make a perfect circle.
No.
And if it is, good for that cow.
Yeah. There's more on the story here, but basically the kids were asked to draw what they saw, and it was interesting. There's a lot of interesting things there. So, yeah, but there's a book coming out. Actually, it's a movie, book movie, same thing. One you read, one you watch. But the movie is called Aerial Phenomena, and it's been released already. I believe it was released last Thursday. So look for it. Yeah, look for it. Aerial Phenomena. Is there a website to this?
Because I'm assuming they'll show the pictures and stuff on the documentary.
Yes, the pictures.
In '94, did we have digital? I don't think we had digital back in '94, did we?
Digital photos?
Cameras, pictures, yeah.
I believe this was all shot on digital. It's very clear.
Is it?
Yeah, the pictures are very clear. Well, film is very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're shooting a certain exposure. Yeah. Yeah, so Aerial Phenomena is the name of the film. Finally, before we go to break, and when we come back, we're going to read some of your Parashare. And we've also got some stuff to send Bruiser off to his new home. Some stories to absolutely frighten him before he moves into his new home. Some paranormal experiences of new homeowners.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell my wife any of them, so when they happen, I know.
So you know, and she doesn't, so she can absolutely be frightened. Time traveler from 2236 issues alien warning before a deadly meteor. Oh, good. We're getting hit from both sides.
2326?
2236.
2236. Okay, so about 200 years from now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He would know.
Unfortunately, this coward is hiding behind an alias online.
Of course they are. Why would they come out? Like, the one famous time traveler was just on message boards.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
Course, this guy's going to be anonymous.
Yeah. The user who posts under the name @real TikTok time traveler, because of course they had TikTok 200 and some years from now.
Yeah, of course. TikTok probably takes over the world.
Mm-hmm. Also claimed that humans will make contact with an alien race this summer. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, put your money on it in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because time traveler TikTok told me that we're gonna meet, aliens this summer. So I put 100 down in July.
Yeah, at real TikTok time travel. You know what? I'd put it down now, and I'd take the entire kids' college fund, and I'd just I'd go to Caesars, and I'd put it down on we're this summer, just the entire June, July, August.
Okay, so I just have to sell this to my daughter and my wife that I'm spending her college tuition on. On time, but it's a time traveler. I mean. Mm-hmm. We know he's a legit time traveler because he's anonymous.
Yeah, and he's a TikTok time traveler. So, I mean, he's got to be real.
That's how he's selling everybody. Hey, man, it's on TikTok. You know if it's on TikTok.
It's got to be real.
It's legit.
Yeah, exactly. A TikToker claiming to be a time traveler from 2236, so he has to be real, has issued a stark warning to their followers, including a claim that Europe will be struck by a deadly meteor in autumn. Oh, screw it. Europe will be gone. So much for going to France. I was going to go to the homeland, go see the Knights Templar. I was going to go, go to the place where supposedly Mary Magdalene was buried. And
sorry, it's gone.
Yeah, all gone.
Yep, it'll be gone this fall. You can go this summer. Maybe you are the key to this, Tim. Maybe you go over this summer to Europe. You meet the aliens. You do a horrible impression on them, and they decide to send a meteor and destroy Europe.
I'm going to communicate in their language.
Say, listen, I need a lift over to France.
And then
I can see in October, you're sitting in your chair, you realize France is gone, you just go, oops. My bad.
Yikes. So Europe will be gone by a deadly meteor in autumn. You know what that means?
What's that?
Vikings don't have to play in London this fall.
Neither do the Packers.
There you go.
We don't have to get up super early for that football game.
Home games, my friend. Home games.
Yes. All right.
Great. We get an extra home game this year. Nothing wrong with that.
Maybe that game's just going to be so on fire that they think it's like a meteor, and he's just misrepresenting it.
That could be. The games are going to be so fired that they think it's a deadly meteor that's actually in London, and it's not. And
it's just people rioting because one team lost and one team won. And
I can't imagine those games are going to be that exciting.
I don't think any of them care about American football.
They don't. It's just another reason to drink Guinness and get loaded in the stands.
Yep.
The user who posts under the name @real TikTok time traveler also claimed that humans will make contact with an alien race this summer, and that a hacker is coming to close down millions of social media accounts because they are against the platform.
And they're using 56. Wait, okay, so hold on now.
This guy,
hacker's coming to hack all the social media platforms, and he's on TikTok telling us this.
Yeah, guess what? He's anti.
Yeah.
He's anti. What's his face? Yeah.
This doesn't make sense at all.
He doesn't. He's anti-Musk, is what he is.
Yes.
Yeah. The warnings read: many people still don't believe me. I'm a real time traveler. From the year 2236, you're 16 and in your mom's basement. And I have come to this date in time to warn you about the upcoming events this year. On July 7th, humans are going to have their first real contact with an alien species called Arzacs, which sounds a lot like Arby's. We have the meats.
We have the meats.
Yes.
We have the meats. Basically, it's all your cows in the back of our saucer.
That's what we've been doing the last couple of years whenever you see dead cattle.
By the way, we make a mean brisket.
We've been slow cooking this for 300 years.
It's jerky now. So Arzacs is the name of the...
Arzacs.
Arzacs.
We have the meats.
I just picture this being some guy going out with his buddies, getting really drunk one night and going, hey, man, want to see something cool? And then the next morning waking up going, oh, what did I do last night? And all of a sudden his TikTok's just blowing up because he's a time traveler all of a sudden.
I'm a real TikTok time traveler. I'm going to make a song. It's going to be a country song. It's gonna sound like Old Time Road or whatever that song is. Old Town Road. So Arzacs on the south side of Alaska is where they're going to show up. South side of Alaska.
South side of, that's the good side. That's not the bad side.
Yeah, south side. They're gonna represent their hood.
Show up south side.
South side.
Where are the Eskimos at?
We represent.
On August 13th, a hacker by the name of Stack, STAK, will delete over 36.7 million TikTok accounts due to their strong beliefs against social media.
But not his.
No.
That's why he chose this username.
Yeah,
because he knows this username is going to be fine.
Yeah,
he's not going to click on the junk mail.
No, at Real TikTok Time Traveler will be safe. On October 12th, there will be a deadly meteor named the Dracnoids.
Ooh, so wait.
So
this guy's been watching a lot of Transformers.
Dracnoids? Is that Dracula's balls? What the hell is Dracnoids?
I know the insectoids from Transformers, the Constructicons, Decepticons, Autocons, Autobots.
All right.
I've never heard of these.
Which will hit.
Yeah, I think we'll go with Dracula's nuts.
Yeah, it's Dracula's nuts are going to hit us from space, which will hit Europe, of course. Well, it's got to be. Dracnoids hit Europe, so Dracula's going to smack Europe in the face with his nuts.
Dracula's teabagging Europe.
Exactly. Causing many casualties.
My balls are on your head. My balls are on your head.
Blah, blah. Take a look at my tea bag. Blah. Blah. The clip has gained more than 5,000 likes since it was posted at 1 a.m. on May 18th.
See, it goes along the lines of being drunk with your friends. Let's do something cool.
Some TikTokers were convinced that the warnings would come true and left comments like, please don't wish bad on the earth.
He's a time traveler. He's not wishing it. He knows this happens.
It's going to happen, man.
Don't wish harm on the earth. Peace, man.
Another added, to be honest, the government going to cover up aliens, so it might be true.
Thanks, dude.
Take another hit. A third wrote, when you leave, let me know so I can meet up first. I'd like to raise my daughter any when but now. So evidently he's going to jump.
Take me with you.
He's going to jump in the portal with him and go back to, or go forward.
His daughter.
Yeah. However, most users seem to be unconvinced by the warnings, but some said they were going to save the video to see what happens. One user wrote, he takes the videos down with dates that have passed and nothing happened. Oh, so he's posted other ones that, didn't come true. Okay.
Of course.
Another added, everything you predicted hasn't happened. A third said, I'll believe you if you give me the winning lottery numbers and make me a millionaire. So true. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're any type of time traveler, you know what those numbers are. All right.
No, that's against the rules of time. You've watched time travel movies.
Oh, it's all bullshit. They'd be able to give you the numbers. They'd be walking around with money in their pockets for days if they were true time travelers. That's what I still.
And they wouldn't tell people they're time travelers because they're the ones that are making all the money. And the more people you tell, there's less money for you.
That's right. That's right. When we come back, we've got your Parashare stories. We got a couple of them, I believe 2 of them to read, if I'm remembering right. We have 2 to read today. We've got some spooky stories of people who have just moved into their homes, Bruiser. Ooh. As you prepare to move to a new home, we figured we'd give you a nice housewarming gift and scare you a little bit as you move into your own.
Scare me or excite me? I want to live in a haunted house.
Okay, maybe excite you a little bit. How's that, buddy? And we've got some other stories out there as well, and some stories that may excite you, some stories that may make you go, huh? We'll talk about the new Ghost Hunter show. There's a new Ghost Hunter show on Discovery Plus.
Oh.
That's debuting. I'm sorry, not Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
I'm old. I get them confused. A new Ghost Adventures show that's out. You can watch it on Discovery Plus. And you know what, folks? There's bodies being pulled from Lake Mead.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that. As Lake Mead is drying up, bodies are showing up.
Makes sense.
And there's a paranormal spin to it, so we'll talk about that as well. It's all coming up next here on a Supernatural News Wednesday right here on the Best in Paranormal Podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the Best in Paranormal Podcasting on a Wednesday. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday. I'm Tim Dennis, and along with me is the Beer City Bruiser. Bruiser!
Yeah.
It's, along with Supernatural News, we also do that Parashare thing, too.
Oh, yeah. I love when fans come in. I was very excited when you said that we had a plethora of them come in.
Yeah, we have. We actually, you know what's nice is we're getting a lot of notes too, and a lot of people enjoying the Wednesday show, and we love your notes about the show as well.
Yes.
Quick note from Cal, who wrote in, said that Bruiser and you spent a lot of time discussing the 1,300 Mars quakes recorded in the last 2 years. Just as a point of reference, according to the USGS, the United States Geological Service, 1,366 earthquakes were recorded in or near Los Angeles in the past 4 weeks. Not too small to be felt, or most too small to be felt. Maybe Mars is safer than Earth. Love the show, Cal. Cal, the only problem is that's Los Angeles and established fault lines, and they know what they're living in.
Right.
We don't know what we're getting into with Mars. Now, those are 1,300 quakes, but is this just starting up, or is this just tailing off? Is this a planet that's getting ready to self-destruct, or is this a planet that those quakes are just settling down? Is this activity that's ramping up, or is this activity that's tailing off? We don't know what we're getting into. We're just saying, why in the hell would you step onto a planet that's quaking? Why wouldn't you step onto a planet that's solid, a solid structure?
Plus, in Los Angeles, they've got all the research on how to build structures safely to deal with
in that gravity.
Earth, in that gravity, yeah. When we go to space, Mars is a completely different gravity, completely different atmosphere. We don't know what the quakes are like.
Yeah. And you don't know the magnitude. You don't know what you're dealing with.
Yep.
So you've got to do a whole new study on how to build structures on Mars.
And it's not an overnight study. Look how long it took Los Angeles to get to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's expensive. This isn't just go up there, pitch a tent, and hope for the best.
Well, you could.
You know, but then you end up like, did I ever tell you that story? I know I've told it before on the air.
Which one?
What's the movie with Matt Damon where he goes up there and he's growing the potatoes?
Oh, The Martian.
The Martian, right? Okay. Yeah. So I go to the emergency room, and I'm trying to remember what ailment I had going on, but so I was in a lot of pain. I remember that. Okay. So they slipped me a couple of oxys and they sent me home. Right.
Okay.
And for some reason I was so out of it. I'm laying on my bed and I sit up, and for some reason I had just watched The Martian. So I thought I was on the surface of Mars with Matt Damon growing potatoes in a tent.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Tim.
Yeah, and I'm trying to grow the potatoes on my bed. And I'm like, wait a minute, I am so effed up right now. Because there's no way Matt Damon and I are on my bed growing potatoes on the surface of Mars. And I'm like, I got to get a grip, man.
That movie really sucked you in.
It did, evidently. Because
it made you feel a part of it, didn't it?
Yeah, that was some good shit, man. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get a control of my high, boy.
So sometime when you're at a Comic-Con and Matt Damon's there and I walk up to him and go, hey, Matt, remember that time you and Tim were farming potatoes on Mars?
And he goes,
he what? Really won't know, right?
No, he'll have no idea. No idea. Absolutely none.
You know my buddy Tim? I do. Yeah, you grew potatoes on Mars.
Tim, yeah, we were on Mars together. Yeah.
We did that.
He was a shitty potato farmer, let me tell you.
He kept planting them in his mattress.
Yeah. I don't know what putting them under the pillow does, but
Tim thought he knew.
He thought he knew just fine. No idea. No idea. Got one here from Tyler. I don't think I can say his last name. We'll just say from Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler.
It's a good name. He also tried to leave a message. I'm sorry, guys. We'll get that phone number up and going here. The voice message wasn't working, but he decided to write in, which we appreciate, Tyler. He says, my mom showed me your show a few years ago, and I haven't stopped listening since, so we appreciate that. Tyler's from Quincy, Illinois. He said, I've wanted to write in for a while, but my few stories that I have are not the best. Don't ever say that, Tyler.
No, any story is a good story.
That's right. Any story is a good story. I've always been interested in the paranormal and extraterrestrials, UFOs, because of my smaller stories, but the story I have now has transpired over the few months before my youngest was born. It all started with a call from my mother. My mom, who we can call Kelly for identity issues. Why, you're embarrassed of your mom? No, I'm kidding. Is a hypnotherapist on the side and also practices a variety of other things on the spiritual side. I won't go into detail to keep this shorter. Okay. On top of all that, she has been taking mediumship classes via webinar. Well, that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
My mother calls me out of the blue after one of her sessions to tell me about her first and second homework projects. The first homework assignment she has is to connect with a partner who is also taking the course. Keep in mind, this partner does not know my mother and lives in Oklahoma. Okay. They have to give each other a photo of a loved one and a first name of said loved one. Document what they get and see what they come up with. My mother gave her partner the first name of my great-grandmother and her photo. The first assignment went very well for both, and the partner came up with quite a bit of accurate information for my mom and vice versa. The second assignment was the same deal. It was supposed to be with a different partner, but she ended up getting the same partner. They each do a different family member again with the first name and a photo. Once again, they each have extremely accurate information for each other, but then the partner had some extra information to give my mother. This information is going to be the closest I can quote. She says that toward the end of their session, my great-grandmother came back to see her, but this time with a little boy, and pushes him out to talk and leaves. For the homework, they have a list of 25 questions to ask the soul to receive the information and share. When the partner asked the boy the 25 questions, he answered all but one question with a friendly, childlike, I don't know, with shoulder shrug and all. The one question he did answer differently was, when did you pass away? The boy replied, I am not dead. The partner was completely lost with confusion, didn't know what to do, and was ready to wrap up the session. So she asked one more question to finish, which was, is there anything you want me to tell Kelly before I go? The boy replied, tell her I can't wait to meet her. The partner was a little more confused. She asked my mom, what could it be? The only thing she could think of is that my wife and I are expecting our second child, and maybe it was their unborn child's soul. This led to the phone call. After the phone call, you could say my mind was and still is blown. We aren't very religious people, and we believe in something, just not what religion has to bring to the table. I at first was hesitant to tell my wife, but then I did just to see what her reaction would be. She just smiled and said, wow. The rest of that night, the baby was active and kicking, which left us in kind of a happy shock. The next day was when things became a little odd and unexplainable. A couple weeks earlier, I purchased some LED battery-powered puck lights to put under my cabinets and on both sides of my entertainment center. On the next day, the two lights on the sides of my entertainment center came on their own. These lights are remote controlled, so at first I thought they were coming on because of the radio frequencies of other remotes or cell phones. Both I and a scientist friend of mine tried just about everything to try triggering the lights and had absolutely no success. Then on one weekend, my wife and I are painting our kitchen in the house we had just bought a few months prior. And the most interesting thing happened. I don't know if it could be coincidence, but the light under the cabinet would come on, corresponding with an actively kicking and moving baby. Lights still do go off to this day, but mainly once my wife is home and off work, and 9 times out of 10 when the baby moves around. Last part of the whole story is one evening I was playing video games with my friend and I decided to stay up until about 1. Everyone got offline and I was still wide awake for some reason, and I went in the garage to clean up my workbench. As I am cleaning, I get a sick feeling and I get really dizzy. I grab a chair and sit down, closing my eyes to make the room stop spinning, and I doze off. Out of nowhere, I hear a little boy scream my name, and I snap right out of sleeping, only to hear the Peanuts theme song just start playing on the radio. Everyone is probably thinking, so what? A song playing on the radio, no big deal. But it is just so happens that our baby's room is all Peanuts themed. Could be coincidence, but I can say we are not crazy. Most of my friends are religious, so I can't tell them the story because they most likely won't believe me, especially the medium part. Sorry for the length of the story. You basically get the message. You're basically getting this message 4 times, but thanks for listening. P.S. I tried with the grammar, paragraphs, and punctuation, but I can say that typing on this phone is lengthy, and I start losing the care towards the end. I never texted this long in my life. Sincerely, Tyler. You know, Tyler, I don't think you're crazy. In fact, I have a story for you, but I'm going to let Bruiser go first.
I don't think he's crazy at all. I think it's 100% the soul of the child coming to say hello to grandma, and then that child having something special about him. You know, there's sensitives out there, there's mediums out there, and you know, you can get it from birth. Mm-hmm. So I love that story. I think it's a great story. I love how it all worked together. And you know what? If they are coincidences, they're happy coincidences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to go with, it's more on the spiritual side of things, I think. And I think it's great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. And Tyler, I'm going to tell you an extremely personal story. I didn't know whether I was going to share this or not, but I'm not going to put in names. Okay. So I have some friends of mine that were having troubles conceiving. One friend of mine because of an operation, an extremely tricky operation. It had to do with certain lower body extremity parts. I'm not even gonna identify them because it might even give the person away.
Okay.
And she was convinced she was never going to have children. And we were talking about it, and the feeling just hit me that they were not going to go childless. And something else hit me, that she just needed to talk to the other side, that there was a child waiting for her. And I said, you know what? You just need to talk to your child. Your child is waiting for you. And I saw an image of a child, and I said, you need to sit and talk to that child and tell that child that you're ready for them, that you're ready with open arms to welcome them into your family. And that child is ready for you. But you need to do it every night. And meanwhile, they're trying to conceive. Mm-hmm. And they're doing everything they need to do. You know, there's temperatures and all the mechanical shit that goes into it. That's just so frustrating.
All the science,
frustrating for a couple that's trying to conceive.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, you can go through all the motions, but it really has to do with your heart and communicating with the other side, because there's that child that's meant for you that right now is going to choose you. It has nothing to do with the mechanical side. There's a child on the other side right now that's going to pick you. Mm-hmm. And that child is there and waiting. You just need to reach out to that child. And that child is there, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than you think. Well, sure enough, they got pregnant.
Oh, okay.
And that child is here and alive and well, and such a happy baby. And Tyler, what I'm going to tell you is you're going to have a very happy son who, believe it or not, is going to be connected to the other side. And it may freak you out a little bit. You're going to be writing us letters for the next couple of years talking about my son sees things. Mm-hmm. Your son may even have a connection with your great-grandmother on the other side, and it may appear in the form of something you see on a baby monitor, where the baby, you know, your baby son may be crying and all of a sudden is comforted in his crib. Or, you know, maybe the baby is looking off somewhere and talking.
An imaginary friend.
Yeah. And is talking to great grandma.
Yep.
The fact of the matter is as babies, as kids, we do move from one side to the other. And we pick our soul family. And I know it sounds kind of woo-woo, but we do move within a soul family. And that soul family extends from family to friends. And we do pick and choose our people. And you know it when you feel it inside, that you've picked your person. You know that you've caught up with your person. So yeah, that baby did pick you. And that baby reached out and got a hold of that psychic and said exactly what it had to say, and let it be known that it was here, and is letting you know that it's here.
To build on your the child choosing you and the soul and stuff, every new parent you've ever talked to, the first thing they see is, I never knew what true love was, or love at first sight until I saw my child. And I think that goes along the lines like you said, because spiritually they're chosen.
Yes.
So it's that natural connection. And if you think about it, 99% of parents out there will say that when I held my son or my daughter for the first time, it was the first time I believed in true love at first sight, and I'm willing to give my life for this child.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, Tyler, I mean, totally, man. That child is going to be something special. And man, you and your wife better be ready. That's all I got to say, because it's, and when I say something special, I don't say that in a bad way. I just mean that you're going to have an incredibly cool time with this kid.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's just, this kid is going to be one in a million. Just a happy kid, just unusual in that they'll be spiritually deep, that they'll be a great kid, just a nice kid, that they'll be just a deep kid,
Very empathetic with other people.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be sensitive to their feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's going to be sensitive to he's going to be sensitive to the world around him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're really going to have a great experience.
I agree.
With that kid, and you're really going to have to, from the word Jump Street, you're going to have to be in tune with that kid, and just really sit and listen.
And no matter what that kid's going through, be there for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you don't understand what it is.
Right.
Be there for him.
Yep. So that's, but yeah, congrats, Tyler. And
that's a great story. Thank you.
Good luck. We'll have another Parashare story here in just a bit. Let's switch gears here. Let's go to Paranormal TV. Discovery Plus and Travel Channel have set their paranormal lineup, and Kesha is in it.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I knew she was into the paranormal and the spiritual. That was just the way she was raised. Not that I know that much about Kesha, but I do.
Everybody says, Tim, don't mention the P. I won't mention the P. But I did, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did. Oh, damn it. Highlights of the new slate include a series starring singer Kesha titled Conjuring Kesha. The show will follow the pop star and her celebrity friends as they go on a cosmic exploration of the afterlife, travel to haunted locations, and search for all things unexplainable. Jack Osbourne and the Ghost Brothers are returning for season 2 of Fright Club as they attempt to creep each other out with the craziest paranormal videos they can find. Osbourne,
which is a great show if you haven't seen it, because they not only are trying to creep each other out, but they're trying to debunk the videos that are going on because they don't want to lose the videos. So you get to learn a lot of, because like you and I like to investigate where we debunk things and get to where we need to get to. And if you're curious about that at all, this show is the show to watch, because you'll watch 4 experts literally try to show, this is why I like this video. Oh, but what if this, and you can see literally every aspect of investigating.
True. Very true. And season 1's available right now on Discovery Plus, so you can catch up on it there. Osbourne will also headline 2 specials: Jack Osbourne's Night of Terror, Bigfoot. That's one title. So Night of Terror, Bigfoot.
Okay.
Parentheses. Not parentheses. Ellipsis. What do you call those 2 dots? They're not umlauts. What the hell are they?
Quotations?
No, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Colon.
I'm getting... Yeah, colon, semicolon, whatever it is. It's a colon. It's colon. And Jack Osbourne's Night of Terror, UFOs.
Ooh.
Yes. So there's 2 Night of Terror specials coming from Jack Osbourne. The Bigfoot special will see Osbourne and actor Jay Muse investigate northern Idaho in search of the legendary creature. Osbourne and Muse will then return for the UFO special, along with comedian Jamie Kennedy, as the group leads to Utah's Uinta Basin, investigate why some UFO sightings happen in the area. Discovery Plus and Travel Channel will also bring new episodes of Ghost Adventures and will host the 5th annual Ghostober event, with premieres arriving every night, including a Ghost Adventures Halloween special and new installments of Ghost Hunters. Others returning shows include Season 2 of Eli Roth Presents A Ghost Ruined My Life, Season 2 of The Haunted Museum with Roth and Zach Baggins, and Season 4 of Expedition Bigfoot. So there you go. It also says premiere dates will be announced at a later time. Unitah Basin, by the way, and speaking of that area, by the way, you only have another day or two left to buy tickets for the UFO disclosure event.
And that's taken right up there in the Unitah Basin.
Yeah.
It's being held there.
Yeah, it's there in Utah. I know you're probably at a point where unless you have a small wad of cash hidden away somewhere, you're probably not flying out there, but you can still stream the event. I believe streaming tickets are $60 for that event.
Which is worth it.
Yeah, Dr. Travis Taylor, Micah Hanks, a lot of our different UFO experts and friends are at that event and are breaking down 4 videos that have never been seen before by the general public. Top secret videos of UAP. Also, there's lots of different events going on during that conference, lots of different talks, speeches. And we're encouraging you, by all means, over the Memorial Day weekend, not Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend.
You're time traveling on us, Tim.
I am, yes. I'm looking forward to that meteor hitting Europe. To get your ticket and to sit in on the conference. Now, I did have one of our listeners ask, well, I bought the package. I haven't heard anything yet as to how to access it. There's a website when you order the package. And again, the website's in the description of the show. You click on the website. They should be sending you an email once you order to describe how to access that stream. And you should be getting a code, I believe. But yeah, that's what's going on with that. You only have a day or two as of this airing. I think they stop sales as of Thursday night.
Okay.
For the stream, so you want to get in on that right now as you listen to this, if you want to check out that conference. But it's going to be newsworthy. They're going to be breaking some news over there in Utah.
Well, the 4 videos unseen before, just amazing. And to think about is how much uproar was there over the Tic Tac video, and that's essentially what this is. This is going to be something like that.
Yes, exactly. Speaking of ghost adventures, let me jump to this story here. They have a new show. You've probably seen the commercials for it. Ghost Adventures House Calls.
Oh.
Yes, and I've actually seen.
He really doesn't do personal investigations, does he? They usually just go to the big sites.
Well, they normally do bigger sites, yes, but this is a spin-off of the popular series on Discovery Plus, and they are doing homes in this series.
Okay.
This episode we're talking about features a local family in search of answers in their Ellington home. This is Ellington, Connecticut, I believe. Ghost Adventures House Calls features Zach Baggins, Aaron Goodwin, Billy Tolley, and Jay Wasley. And because the commercial came out that only featured Aaron, Billy, and Jay, I think a lot of people think Zach is not involved in this.
No, if it's got Ghost Adventures name, he's involved.
Yeah, he's got.
He's you know him. He's a very hands-on guy.
Yeah, so I think Zach will be involved in one way or another in all episodes. So I don't think people need to throw that out there that Zach's not involved. Yeah. So the team behind Ghost Adventures is involved in this. In this spinoff, the investigators visit frightened families who believe they're under paranormal attack. In the second episode, Ellington Home Invasion, a family believes a tall, shadowy entity with hooves has invaded their home, and fear the entity will the hooved figure will hurt the children. The first 2 episodes of the 8-part series has debuted already now on the streaming service. If you don't have Discovery Plus, folks, you want to go out and get Discovery Plus because there's some good stuff on Discovery Plus right now.
I watch it on a daily basis because it covers paranormal fans.
There's everything.
True crime fans.
Yeah, there's DIY. There's everything.
Yeah, DIY. The house. My wife's into the cooking stuff. That is. You can do your favorites on some smart TVs. That's number 1 of my favorites. Yeah,
absolutely. We move on. A ghostly mirror world could be causing our universe to behave in ways we don't understand, Bruiser?
Kind of like a multiverse thing, huh?
A little bit. Mysterious symmetry could help resolve a problem with the expansion of the cosmos. I know, we've got urban sprawl all over the cosmos now.
They keep building those damn suburbs in the cosmos.
You know what it is? It's housing prices. It is. It's inflation and housing prices. That's all it is.
When that strip mall went up in the cosmos, that was it. That was the end of the cosmos.
Yep, we just needed to keep building. A hidden mirror world of particles that are only evident through gravity could help answer the strange behavior of our universe, scientists say. It could be the answer to the difficulties of the Hubble constant, which measures the expansion of our universe, and the fact that it does not seem quite as constant as researchers expected. When scientists...
Of course.
What did they expect?
I don't know. I was going to ask you the same thing. What was their expectations, Tim?
I don't know. When scientists predict the rate of expansion using the standard model of cosmology and then compare it to with precise measurements, the two numbers are different. In recent years, those precise measurements have become yet more precise and has only made it more clear that the problem is not the result of another problem, such as measurement errors. This, again, sounds like a guy thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not as big as we wanted it.
Super easy and making it as complicated as possible. This is new math.
It is.
This is new math.
Yeah. So we were measuring our universe and we were whipping out our rulers, and it turns out that our universe isn't as big as we thought it was. So we're going to fudge the number. As yet, there is no explanation for why that is, and the answer is likely to require a fundamental rethink of our understanding of the cosmos. Now a team of scientists say they have found a new mathematical property of cosmological models that could allow that problem to be resolved, since it allows the universe to be expanding more quickly without changing the model in ways that would prove problematic elsewhere. So are we cheating on the size of the universe?
I was going to say, are they cheating? Like, they're using... There's a slide scale for this, isn't there?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, someone
what is
broke
it in
out.
College? What is it in college where you have to take the curve? So there's a curve to this, huh?
I think so. Someone broke out an abacus here. The discovery suggests that there might be a universe very similar to ours that remains almost entirely invisible, but it can be seen in the evidence in the gravitational impact on ours, say researchers. Such mirror world theories have been around since the 1990s, but they have not been suggested as a solution to the problem before, according to scientists. This may seem crazy at face value, but such mirror worlds have large physics literature in a complete different context, since they can help solve important problems.
So the mirror world's smarter than us.
I guess.
That's what I got out of that.
You know what it sounds to me? It's like, it's not so big, so let's throw some bullshit in to explain why it's not so big.
What's that saying? Baffle them with bullshit? Or,
yes. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
That's what they're doing to us right now, isn't it?
Wasn't that W.C. Fields? We've talked about this before.
Yes, we have. Yeah. This is a saying you and I have used many times, and I think this is proving it.
I don't know if I need to go on with this story, do I? I don't think so. It just sounds like, you know what? Our dick isn't big enough, so we're going to stuff our pants with tissue paper.
So we're going to cheat.
Yeah.
We got it wrong, so we're going to cheat.
Yeah. All right. So guess what, Bruiser? Since we were in the world of television, believe it or not, a huge set of T-Rex prints appeared on a UK beach. Dog walkers found them.
Just randomly? Wow. Okay. I know the new Jurassic Park's coming out, but they probably moved their stuff years ago.
You would think, yeah. So you're walking your dog, and maybe you got a little Shih Tzu that you're walking, and you see some T-Rex prints, and you're probably thinking doggy is soon to be T-Rex food.
Well, yeah. No, because the dog could probably run faster than us.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Because the T-Rex isn't going to, oh, look, there's a dog. The T-Rex is like, oh, there's food. Oh, I'm going to eat the slower one, which would definitely be you or me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we probably do look like a tasty snack compared to the dog.
It's Bruiser and Cruiser T-Rex snacks.
That's right. Hey, look at Bruiser and Cruiser jerky. Or brisket. I'd probably be tasty brisket because I'm quite fatty. Dog walkers were bemused after waking up to find giant dinosaur footprints dotted along their local beach A trail made up of 64 Tyrannosaurus rex footprints, each a meter long, appeared along the golden sands of Traithlifen? Is that how it's pronounced? Good Lord.
Sure someone would notice a T-Rex walking around the UK. It's not that big of an island.
That's true. The prints led into the sea, highlighting the little-known fact that the T-Rex was a surprisingly adept swimmer, according to researchers. Locals
really good at the breaststroke because of the small arms.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, put little floaties on their arms and they're ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Locals from the South Wales community had not suddenly been transported to the latest Cretaceous period. Rather, the footprints had been installed to mark the launch of the Apple TV Plus series Prehistoric Planet.
Okay. I knew there was a catch.
Yeah, so you can take a deep breath. The new dinosaur documentary is narrated by Sir David Attenborough and features music composed by Hans Zimmer. So you can take a breath there, Wales. You're not being invaded by T-Rex.
You're not T-Rex jerky.
No, exactly. BBC Studios Natural History Unit and a team of special effects wizards have combined to recreate dinosaurs from 66 million years ago, including a T-Rex swimming in a stunning feat of CGI. These are some deep prints, too. On Sunday, a team of 10 sand artists worked with paleontologists to design the prints and spent more than 4 hours creating the 50-meter-long prehistoric trail. Their eye-catching efforts soon attracted the attention of initially baffled locals. Local passerby, 72-year-old Anna Hatton, said, "I saw these giant footprints from up on the cliff path and came down to take a look. It's amazing how big they are up close." 32-year-old Alex Bull was walking her dog Callie along the beach when they encountered the art installation. She said, "I saw these footprints and Callie went running up to them and I was like, what on earth could have made these?" Sir David said, "It's an opportunity to see the world's most famous dinosaurs like T-Rex and Triceratops come to life, but also to really enter into their world and see the incredible diversity of life which existed at that time." Executive producer Mike Gunton said, "We wanted to find a show-stopping way to get people talking about the release of Prehistoric Planet, and what better way than to bring dinosaurs back to the present day? Oh, and scare the shit out of everybody."
Yeah, I was going to say, that's it. Let's just scare everybody. But hey, they talk about it then.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Those shows are amazing too. I don't remember if you remember the show Walk with Dinosaurs, where it was like literally you thought the dinosaurs were real.
Yeah.
It's amazing what technology can do. I mean, they just fooled the whole country at T-Rex's back.
Very true. Very true. Let's tackle our second Parashare story for today, shall we?
Yes.
Here it is. It comes from Corey you know what? I shouldn't say Corey's last name. We'll say Corey.
All right. Hello, Corey.
Hello, Corey. Hello, Cruiser and Bruiser. That's how he starts off. Been a while since I've written in. I believe the last two stories I sent in was one where a spirit poured itself a fountain soda, and another was my sighting of a Tic Tac UFO. Maybe I'll send those in again to get the Bruiser's thoughts. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to take things back to my first real paranormal experience just over 14 years ago, which will connect with my most recent experience. Back in the late summer of 2007, my grandfather passed very suddenly. Naturally, many of us were very devastated. He was involved in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II and had many jobs after returning from the European Theater of Operations. And we had finally gotten him to speak on his experiences in the war, maybe a year before he passed. The grief had hit me like a ton of bricks, and any moment of solitude I had would bring me grief and sadness and bring that back, especially if I was driving home from my second shift job. One night, maybe a month or so after the funeral, I was about a mile from home, and suddenly my car was overtaken by the scent of Salem cigarettes. God, I know that well. My dad used to smoke like 3 packs a day.
Yeah, my grandfather did.
Yeah.
Salem and Pall Mall.
Yep. And a menthol-based pain cream, both scents that many associated with him. I instinctively looked at my passenger seat, and while I couldn't see anything, I knew he was there. And I got the feeling he was telling me things would be fine. Just as quick as he arrived, he was gone. Since then, other members of my family have felt this presence as well. Fast forward to Christmas week of 2021, and my grandmother passes away to join Grandpa in the afterlife. When I came home from her funeral, I sent out a request to the great heavens, asking that she visit me when she's ready. Again, the grief came in waves and finally culminated in a massive panic attack about a week later. I had just returned to work, and I just deteriorated mentally as the day went on, to the point that I had to call in and request a mental health day when I got home that evening. That night, I fell asleep, and the most amazing thing happened in a dream. The dream opened with myself and a few other family members surrounding my grandmother at her longtime home, out on the three-season porch. It felt like we were all waiting for something or someone. Sure enough, moments later, Grandpa appears on the little couch they had out there and joins Grandma, both smiling, both telling us that things would be okay. The next day was the most refreshed I'd felt in quite some time. To this day, nearly 6 months after that visitation, I have not heard if anyone else in the family has had that same visit. It was, however, the most powerful and beautiful experience I've ever had in the paranormal space. Thanks for reading this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and dream visitations in general. Thank you for this incredible program, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. That's a great story.
Yeah. What do you think, Bruiser?
I 100% believe that people visit you when like he said, he was dealing with the stress and the anxiety, and then that familiar smell came in, and he had the sense. I've experienced it. I've had my grandmother visit me numerous times when I'm, bouts of anxiety, crippling anxiety. So I know what he's going through with taking a mental health day and stuff, and her showing up, putting her hand on my arm, saying everything's going to be okay. It's happened to my mother. I firmly believe that it happened, and that the wave of relief comes over you. And then the visiting in the dreams, I've always thought that everyone I've talked to that has lost someone significant in their life, when they're at their absolute lowest, that person will visit in the dreams to say, hey, I'm okay. Everything's okay. And I think from that dream, what came across was Grandpa coming, going, I got her, guys. She's with me now. Everything's going to be okay. And like you said, he woke up the next day and was refreshed because subconsciously everything, the two people he looked up to were telling him, everything's okay. I got her. You go do your thing. And that's where the anxiety washes away. I always believe that they're there for you and that they'll visit when the time's right. We don't know when that is. We don't know what it is, but just trust that it's going to happen when you need them.
Interestingly enough, Corey, the dream visitations that I had came through when I needed them most. When I felt I needed the spiritual help the most.
Yep.
I've had my grandmother come through recently in dream visitations. But I've never seen my grandfather. And, you mentioned your grandfather was in World War II. Mine was as well. My grandfather went into the Army first, was injured, got a Purple Heart, didn't want to leave his brother behind who was in the Navy. Lied about the fact that he was injured in the Army, went into the Navy, ended up in Corregidor in the Philippines, and served out another term in the Navy and became a frogman. And one of the first frogmen. There are times I really wish he would visit me, but I think he knows I'm strong enough. So he knows I don't necessarily need it. I think he knows it's just a guilty pleasure. And what is he going to say to me? Yeah. What is it that he really feels I need to hear that I don't already do? I'm already so much like him, I think. And
I don't think he's going to visit you in a dream. I think that when you're absolute rock bottom and you absolutely need him, I think he'll show up.
Yeah, exactly.
In a different way. I think visiting in a dream is some way of people communicating with us, and then actually physically the smell or the touch happens.
Yeah. Well, and
my wife, when we lost my father-in-law in 2013, and doing this whole move stuff, obviously a lot of memories come up because you got the pictures and stuff. And yesterday she had a really, really rough day, just emotionally, because do we take this? Do we leave this? Oh, this was your dad's. It's been in our attic. What do we do? And this morning when I saw her, I said, you're pretty peppy. She goes, yeah, Dad visiting me last night, gave me a big hug, told me he was proud. And I just think, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I think with your grandfather, I think it's going to be when you're at because, your absolute lowest, he's going to appear somewhere.
Yeah.
And it'll help. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where your grandmother, I think she knew seeing her in your dream is what you needed. Does that make sense? You know, that's why I think with his dream, his grandfather was there physically, because maybe that's how his grandfather was. But then his grandmother in the dream say, "Hey, look, I'm with Grandpa. We're good."
Well, I think Corey absolutely needed it. He needed, in order to get on the right track and in order to get on with life, I think both Grandma and Grandpa needed to make that appearance and just put him at ease.
Agreed.
And that's all that was being in that setting. They knew you just needed one last time to be put at ease. Not that you were necessarily sitting on the porch and looking for something or looking for meaning in life, just that you just needed to be put at ease. That everything's all right, everything's fine. Someday you'll all be reunited. And that's as simple as it is. Sometimes that's all it is. Like when my Uncle David came to me, it was, "Hey, kid, everything is going to be all right. We'll all be here one day or another.
Yep.
In the meantime, go live your life. You know, go do what you have to do. You know, it's all inevitable. It's all going to be here eventually. We're all going to be here eventually. But in the meantime, you got stuff to do." And that's exactly what
and
I
know I'm okay. You're okay, and I'm okay.
You're okay. I'm okay. Let's continue. You know, what I was at the end of life is not what I am now.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, especially because people always say when people revisit, and I'm curious to see if Corey says, you know, when he saw his grandmother, if it was the way she was on her deathbed, or if it was the way he remembers her best.
Yeah, it was hard when I saw my grandma. I couldn't see her face.
Really?
Yeah, I think because I couldn't tell you why. I think just because she just wanted me to know she was there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it was anything other than that.
Yeah.
Just a little high, you know, and that's all I needed.
When I saw my grandmother, it was her from her wedding photo, because I've always she used to have a in her living room. She has a giant picture that she had of her on her wedding day, and it's a funny story. They had to push 2 ottomans together for her to sit on it, and she's super uncomfortable sitting on it. But like, this picture she looks like Lucille Ball, just a gorgeous. And I used to always, since I was a little kid, would tell her how beautiful she was, and that picture, you know, and they'd always tell a funny story of how she was miserable and all that. And I think that's why when she came to me, she knew that's what I'm most comfortable with, because even as a child, looking at that, I knew it was her. Yeah. You know?
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Where yours, I think it was just your grandmother going, "I'm here," you know? You don't need to...
Yeah, it was just a quick, "I'm here." That's, you know.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a shock. It was just kind of out of nowhere. So it was just you know, "I know you're thinking about me. I'm here. Everything's good." Type of deal.
That's how a lot of those come about, I think, is we're not... What is that? You find something when you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're so focused on your anxiety and you're so focused on your grief. You don't, you know, that when they come along, it almost takes your focus off the anxiety and the grief and onto them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it. Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of anxiety, let's move on.
I think I know where we're going with this one.
Oh, yes. I don't think we'll do all 33. We'll let you move in, and we'll try to get to half of these. They're real short stories. We will warn you, however, that some of these do involve domestic violence and suicide. They're not all happiness and rainbow here. 33 paranormal experiences people have had after moving into a new house.
All right.
Yeah,
I do want to say this. If anybody out there is in a domestic violence situation, get out. There's ways to do it. Look into the different ways, please.
Yes. And again, it is, I believe May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is. So talk to somebody.
Yes. And I don't have the number in front of me right offhand, but we'll get that, and we'll put it in the description of this program. How to get help if you feel like you need help with an issue with mental illness. Or you feel like and we'll get the suicide hotline number as well. If you feel like you want to harm yourself, by all means, there are people out there that care. There are people out there that want to help you and help you through it, because suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary issue.
Yep.
So, okay.
So how are we scaring me?
Here we go.
What do I have to look for, Tim?
33 paranormal experiences people have had after moving into a new home. Number 1, I have a basic LA condo built in the 80s. One morning while at the bathroom sink getting ready for work, I heard this odd scratching noise. I looked around assuming it was the cat. I happened to look at a cheap painting I had hung on the wall. It slowly rotated left and then slowly moved back, causing the odd scratching sound. This was in a windowless bathroom. No earthquake, any kind of vibration, and no wind. I freaked out and I took it off the wall.
My place is a windowless bathroom too. And we have a picture in there right now.
So you can try that out. Number 2, I lived in a house when I was 19 or 20 when my roommates and I all worked as bartenders and waitresses at a local bar and just lived up the street. It was a slow night, so one of my roommates went home early. She called us a few hours later saying that she could hear a baby crying. She even went from room to room trying to figure it out, but she got terrified, but she got so terrified that she called us. We all ran home and found her white as a sheet, clutching the phone and crying. We all slept in her bed together that night. Then a few nights later, the fire department showed up saying a neighbor called and reported that our house was on fire, and it wasn't. Turned out our whole neighborhood had burned down in the 1900s and that a baby had died in our house.
Oh, that is creepy. Because you get the baby crying, and then a few days later, the fire department coming up because they think your house is on fire.
Yeah.
That all fits together.
Yeah, it does. Number 3, my parents rented the house we grew up in. It was haunted, but we were actually not bothered by it. Eventually, my parents found another house to purchase, so we moved. One random night, the landlord from the previous house called asking if we had ever experienced anything weird there. My mom told him we had, but we had never said anything because it wasn't likely that others would believe us. Apparently, his new renter had been home alone with her kids, and when she went to check on them, she found soot coming out of their mouths, ears, and noses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
She immediately took them to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because of the soot not being a common thing, her children were being withheld from her until an investigation from Child Protective Services could be performed. After reporting to the landlord that she had been experiencing paranormal activities and him confirming with our family that it was true, she was allowed to have her children back. She did not return to the house, left everything in the house because she was afraid.
That's a reason to get out.
Yeah, it is.
Especially with young children.
Yep. Number 4, when my son was 3, he started having dreams and visions of people coming out of holes and dancing in his room. Okay, that's fucked up.
It's a party.
He said they were trying to tell him something. He also said he would wake up to see faces in the dark and they were screaming at him.
Oh, that would freak me out.
There were many nights when his screaming would wake me up. The kids screaming, attacked. One night in his room, he was telling me about his experiences, and I saw a streak of white light move up over his face. Another time I ran into his room, and he was up on his knees, looking around the room. I didn't say anything and just continued to watch him in the dark. This went on for about 15 minutes, and finally, he looked at me and said one word, Manya. It was apparently his name for whatever spirit he was seeing.
Wow. That's a pick up and move thing too.
Yeah, we're done. We're done at that point.
Yeah.
Number 5, years ago, my husband and I were trying to see if we could get a modest house by contract for deed. We took my sister along to look at the house. It still had someone's personal items in it, as though they had just stepped out, but it was for sale. We all walked through and were hopeful. Suddenly, my sister said, "Wait, I know whose house this was. This house belonged to that guy my son knew who died in his kitchen. This was Tony's house."
Oh, great. Thanks.
At that precise moment, a cabinet door shot open and whacked her on the backside. Never one to be rattled easily, she looked up and said, "Okay, Tony, I get it." We checked. It was indeed his house. The cabinet had been tightly shut, and the floor was stable. I've never seen a cabinet door randomly swing open with a force behind it like that. Not enough to hurt, but fast, as though a hand had whipped it open. You had to be there. I wish we could have gotten the house, even if he was haunting it. He was known to be a nice guy, very funny, and wouldn't have mind sharing it with him.
That's a great story. That reminds me of a couple friend of mine. They bought a house, and a couple days a week, they had one of those attics where you have to pull the string and the ladder comes down. Mm-hmm. Well, they'd walk past, it'd be open, and they just thought one or the other was pulling it open, and they hadn't been up there yet. This went on for about a week, so then finally they had to put stuff up in the attic, and they went up, and there was this old suitcase in their attic, and it kind of just gave them a creepy feeling. So they moved the suitcase, and it went over. They put it by the back door, like, we'll just throw us away. Well, then for the next day, there for like 2 or 3 days, anytime they'd go by the back door would be cracked open.
Oh no!
They couldn't figure it out. So they're like, you know what? We gotta get rid of this. So they ended up as a joke, because they went and they put it by a friend of theirs, as like a joke, put it on her back patio. Mm-hmm. And the friend saw it and just, oh, whatever, haha. But it stayed there for 2 or 3 days, and every day she'd go by her back door, patio door would be cracked open.
Oh no!
So she got freaked out. So she ended up taking it and throwing it into a dumpster and leaving it. But I just thought it was funny. Anywhere the suitcase was,
the door cracked.
The door would crack open.
Oh no!
And it even moved over to the other. And I asked them. I said, "Did you guys ever do any research to find out?" They're like, "No, we just let it be." They're like, "You're the paranormal guy." I'm like, "I'd be so curious, like why?" Yeah, because it's obviously the suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I asked them. I said, "Has anything happened since they moved the suitcase?" They're like, "No, everything's fine."
Weird.
They just had a baby. They have a dog, and they're acting, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Number 6, I had just moved in with my best friend. My room was closer to the kitchen than hers, and I didn't have a door, just a curtain. One night I heard her walking around the kitchen in the dark and cutting what sounded like vegetables. I'm not one to judge, but I thought chopping veggies in the dark at 2 a.m. was strange, especially when I heard footsteps coming toward my room and stop.
You don't know many drunk vegans, do you?
No, not at all. I asked her about it the next morning, and she said she had no idea what I was talking about. She said she had stayed in her room all night, but there was a cutting board and knife on the counter. That place continued to have a ton of weird things happen, like her boyfriend seeing a full shadowy figure walking into my room from the living room while I slept. Eventually, things stopped. I think the ghost got used to us.
Thanks for not waking me up, boyfriend. You see some random person walk in my room.
Number 7, I lived in a split-level house as a teenager and had the lower-level bedroom that also had the entrance to the crawl space. For a few years, my sister was incredibly sensitive to paranormal happenings and even claimed to have seen a Civil War-era man in uniform at the foot of her bed one night. Well, she was never comfortable coming into my room or even being near it, as she said she would see shadow figures dart around. Of course, this made me super uneasy, but I tried to ignore it. Then one night, maybe a couple of months after my great-grandmother passed away, I was laying in bed when I heard soft murmuring or humming. I was scared stiff because the noise was definitely in my room. It was so close to me. It is important to note that I was the only one who had a bedroom in the lower level, and at this time of night, no one was in the family room next door. I turned on my bedside lamp and just laid in bed with the covers up to my chin, listening to the humming. Then I felt my mattress sink, and a light pressure against the side of my body like something had sat down next to me. There was a change in temperature near me, and I was terrified. This feeling didn't leave for a while, and then I started to feel something touching my head. Like
the ghost just wants to cuddle.
Yes, like my hair was being smoothed down, kind of like I was being petted.
It's a cuddling ghost.
Ew. It all disappeared very suddenly, though, and I was feeling very warm again. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next day, I told my sister of this experience, and she told me that she saw her great-grandmother the same night, and that she would sit on her bed and stroke her hair lovingly sometimes. Blew my mind. I was scared at that time, but looking back, I'm just happy she chose to visit me.
Just wanted to cuddle. That's all it wanted to do.
Oh.
You're not into cuddling with ghosts?
Make yourself known. No, just don't come up to me with no body or nothing that I can see and just start petting me. That's a little awkward.
Go. Spirits, personal space. Come on, spirits.
That's
personal
right.
space.
Boundaries. Boundaries. Number 8, when I was in college, I lived in an apartment complex. Every once in a while at around 2 a.m., I would hear breaking glass. It was clear as day. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin is what it was.
It was.
Yeah. I never found any broken glass anywhere around the apartment. My younger brother would come out and party with us. And once or twice, he came busting into my room thinking someone was breaking in. Finally, one night, my girlfriend stayed over. She would kick and push in her sleep. And at some point, she nudged me and I woke up. When I looked over at her, she wasn't asleep. She was sitting at the foot of my bed, facing away from me. When I said her name, she stood up and walked out of the room, and then the sound of glass breaking happened. I looked around and realized that she was still laying next to me in bed. That was the only time I saw anything in that place, but heard the sounds pretty consistently.
So the spirit of his girlfriend was breaking their dishes.
Evidently.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no. Like, the relationship isn't going any further.
When your doppelganger's doing stuff.
Yeah. Number 9, my mom and I both have suffered from brain aneurysms and strokes.
Well, that's not good.
No. Hers occurred before mine, and I had mine during the height of COVID. By the time I had my stroke, her brain was already gone. And because of COVID, we weren't allowed to see her much in 2020. Soon after she passed away, only 1 month after my own battle started, there's no doubt that she gave me the last of her strength so that I could fight and live on. I didn't get the chance to say goodbye, and I didn't even know how bad she was doing. It took a while after that, but I started smelling her favorite perfume around the house without having a bottle of it here. When we finally got her ashes back, my cat would stare at the urn for what seemed like forever. I'd see my mom out of the corner of my eye that I lost vision in from my stroke. I never needed her more than when I had my stroke, and I still need her while I heal. She may not physically be around anymore, but she's taking care of me the best that she can. That's a nice story.
Yeah, that goes along like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Number 10, I saw an orb in my bedroom doorway while going to sleep. The next day, things hanging from my ceiling started moving without a breeze. So I went to leave my room, walked through the doorway where the orb was seen the previous night, and it was a cold spot. My entire leg felt cold. I left and I went to work, and when I came back, I said out loud, "I can't help you. I need you to leave." My bedroom door closed on its own, and nothing has happened after that.
Just had to let them know. Ghost was just checking.
Cold orbs.
Yep.
Name of my new book. Ice cold orbs. Number 11.
Drink in a bar.
It could be, yeah. Ice cold orbs. They're called ice cubes. Number 11. One time on my son's baby monitor, we heard a loud male voice say, "Stop that." We happened to know a mother and daughter psychic team and enlisted their help. Why not just check for electronic issues?
Yeah.
Crosstalk.
Baby monitors can pick up other frequencies.
Mm-hmm. They tuned in and they both saw an evil old man spirit from the 40s who brought in other souls to make mischief. Of course, had it said.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Apparently, this man also smoked a cigar. We often smelled cigar smoke in our hallway outside my son's bedroom. Either that or your son's taking up smoking.
I was going to say, you might want to check to make sure your son's not smoking a cigar.
It's the old baby with the cigar in his mouth from the cartoons.
Boss baby.
Boss baby, yeah.
Get me the numbers for today for the horse races.
Number 12, the house I grew up in is pretty active. And one morning when I was 13, I was in my bedroom at one end of the house, and the rest of my family was in the living room on the other side of the house. I absentmindedly did the shave and a haircut knock on my wall. Something else immediately knocked the last 2 bits part. I ran down the hall into the living room and verified that nobody else was in that part of the house. Nope. That's pretty easy. Just a few more here. Number 13, I had 2 encounters in my current home, and they were years apart. One day I was washing dishes, and I stepped back, and someone touched both sides of me as if they were trying to walk past me, but I was home alone. And just last week, this painting just fell off the wall. The nail was still fine, and everything else stayed on the walls, but a few hours later, a knife just dropped from the counter to the floor when I wasn't near it. And it was nowhere near the edge of the counter. I felt like someone or something was trying to connect with me. So I said out loud, if you're trying to give me a message, please choose another way and don't make it scary. Nothing else happened after that.
Well, because the ghost is like, shit, I can't make it scary. What am I going to do now?
Write you a letter?
All I got is scary, lady. Come on.
I only do one trick.
I can flip stuff.
Yeah.
All right? That's all I can do.
Number 14, one morning, a few weeks before we moved into our house, I was home with my daughter, who's a toddler, and my dog. Not that the toddler's a dog, but you get what he means. My husband was at work, or she means. My husband was at work, and I asked my daughter to tidy up her toys so we could go upstairs for a shower. She picked up all her toys and put them in the toy box. I folded a blanket and put it on the sofa. Then we immediately went upstairs together and stayed upstairs for 20 minutes. When I came downstairs after showering, I glanced into the living room and saw all of my daughter's toys laid out on the sofa. There was also an imprint of one of her toys on the blanket, as if it has been put there and moved. Nobody else was in the house, and unless the dog suddenly developed the ability to open a toy box and empty the contents neatly onto the sofa, I have no explanation for it whatsoever. My husband refused to believe me, but one of my friends refused to visit us after that.
Turns out the husband trained the dog to do that just as a joke to mess with his wife.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, boy, have I got ways to screw with her. Come here, Fido. It took 3 years to train the dog on how to empty a toy box.
It paid off. Look, it paid off.
It did.
What are you talking about? No, that didn't happen.
The dog can't open the toy box. Of course the dog can open the toy box. Number 15, my mom and dad passed just 5 weeks apart of unrelated cancers. We had taken my son with us to my parents' house to feed their cats. My son was 7 at the time, and he wandered downstairs to explore. At some point, he reappeared upstairs, strangely subdued. At the time, he hadn't yet learned to lie, nor did he make stuff up. My wife noticed his demeanor and asked, "What's up, kid?" He said, "Pop is outside by the fence. I want to go home now." Oh, shit.
He's not supposed to be here. I'm ready to go home.
Yep. Time to go.
Yep.
And finally, number 16. One night I was sleeping and woke up to noise coming from my desk. It sounded like someone was shuffling papers, but it was so loud that I remember waking up in a panic. There was no one else in my room but me. I yelled for my mom, and as soon as she opened the door and turned on the light, the noise stopped. I told my mom what happened, and she said that it was probably a dream and to go back to bed. Years later, she told me that she had actually found papers scattered all over the floor, but picked them up before I could see.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Yeah. We'll do the other ones when you get settled in there, Bruiser.
All right.
So we can stir up the shit, so to speak, when you get moved in, see if anything's happened in the new home.
Yeah, because I'll be recording from there, so I'll be able to tell you.
Yeah, there you go. But we do wish you well in the move.
Thank you.
To the new place. So there you go.
I'm very excited. It's been rough, busy, but it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Watching that pod get picked up today to take out to the new house, my wife was kind of watching, getting all giddy, because it's like, it's happening.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's exciting. New beginnings are always exciting.
They are. Yep. Scary, but exciting. Like a leap of faith is what I say. Absolutely.
Well, you know what? And that's what it is, but it's not much of one, because you know what? It came together. It was meant to be. And when things are meant to be, they just happen.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
100%. You and I have talked about it off air. You put the positive out there and it's going to come back at you. And that's what we've done this whole process. And it's been amazing.
That's right. That's right. We teased it before, but bodies are being pulled from a parched Lake Mead out there in Vegas. And it's stirring some stories about wise guy ghosts of Las Vegas. People are finding bodies in barrels, and they're saying, well, that ain't a natural way to be buried.
No, that's not like that just washed up.
Yeah, exactly. It's the mob guy who went missing after skimming from the Stardust Casino. No, it's the lake resort manager hunted down by the Chicago outfit. Could it be the work of the biker gang muscling in on mafia turf? Or maybe just fell off a boat after one too many. Ever since the body started turning up this month in Lake Mead, the first was in a barrel, the next half buried in sand, both exposed by plunging water levels. Theories in Las Vegas are flourishing about who they are, how they wound up in the country's largest man-made reservoir, and what may surface next. Lynette Melvin found the second body with her sister while paddleboarding. That would be an awkward.
That would be really creepy.
Yeah.
Someone just grabbed my hand or my foot. Yeah, it was a hand.
It's dead. At first, they thought they had stumbled upon bones of a bighorn sheep. It wasn't until I saw a jawbone with a silver filling that I was like, whoa, that's human.
That sheep has some good dental.
Yeah, that's an amazing dental plan out in the wild. She said, whoa, this is human, and started to freak out, 30-year-old Melvin said. The discovery of who's 30 years old and named Melvin? That's what I want to know.
Somebody whose parents didn't like him.
I guess. The discovery of human remains is always a source of tragedy and potential pain for loved ones, especially when they show signs of a violent end. But in Las Vegas, a town where the seedy underbelly is part of the draw, macabre fascination and amateur sleuthing have quickly followed. As Melvin put it, there's a whole lot of mystery around them. The somber findings come amid the Southwest's driest 2 decades in more than 1,000 years as drought-starved bodies of water yield one surprise after another. At Elephant Butte Reservoir in New Mexico, a bachelor party stumbled across a fossilized mastodon skull that is millions of years old. In Utah last year, the receding waters of Lake Powell revealed a car that had plunged 600 feet off a cliff, killing the driver. And as Lake Powell dries up, archaeologists are getting a chance to study newly emerged indigenous dwellings. In Las Vegas, the obsession with the Lake Mead remains combines anxiety about the city's dwindling water supply with the fascination over how mobsters shaped the Mojave Desert outpost into a glittering gambling haven, where pleasure seekers float down lazy rivers and frolic in colossal pools amid the parched landscape. Now it's just 30% full, believe it or not, Bruiser. 30%.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
It is hot out there.
It is. Lake Mead has already fallen to its lowest level since it was filled during the Great Depression, raising fears in places such as Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Tucson, Arizona, that also draw water from the reservoir above the Hoover Dam. Federal authorities announced this month that it would delay releases from the Colorado River into Lake Mead, about 30 miles east of Las Vegas, dwindling it even more. Jennifer Burns, a forensic anthropologist who consults with the coroner's office in Clark County, which contains Las Vegas, said warming temperatures could reshape her profession. Long-term drought and other changes to the landscape make more grim discoveries possible and require planning for mass casualty events like deadly heat waves, storms, and wildfires. Climate change is directly going to affect our field in the coming years, said Burns, who is also an assistant professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. In some instances, that means help putting down old cases after a pickup truck with a female body inside was found in a receding lake in Texas in 2014. Officials used dental records to identify a woman who's been missing since 1979.
Yeah. And I heard they figured out who killed her.
Yeah. Still, Burns said human remains found in places like Lake Mead can be especially challenging. The reservoir is so large that its currents can circulate a body far from where it drowned or was dumped and cause it to break apart. A body in a container like a barrel, she said, could decompose faster than one exposed to water, and scavengers like water bugs, crabs, fish, and birds can complicate efforts to determine identities and causes of death. None of that has stopped amateur sleuths from poring over clues in Las Vegas's hottest new cold cases. So far, police investigators have said they do not expect foul play in connection with the body found by the paddleboarders. But detectives with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said the victims in the barrel appeared to have died from a gunshot wound, likely in the mid-70s or early 80s, based on clothing and footwear. At the time, even as local authorities sought to downplay the influence of organized crime syndicates, mobsters from the Midwest cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, and Kansas City wielded immense clout around Las Vegas. Today, the mafia's role in Las Vegas is considered insignificant, but nostalgia for the era of made men has emerged as a big moneymaker. For the price of $119.95, you too, by the way, can take the mob tour. It's that much?
Yeah. Well,
Holy
Vegas was
cow.
built by the mob, so there's a lot of stuff out there for that.
So, yeah, the Mob Museum is in downtown, and tourists with beers
It's a great
in
museum
hand.
too. If you ever get a chance, it's a great museum.
I've been wanting to, but I didn't know it was $120 to go there. That's
But you get more than the museum with that tour.
What, do they kill you and put you in Lake Mead?
Yeah, you get killed, put in a barrel, and shoved into the lake.
Wow. Well, it's dwindling, so there's not a lot of spots left. So I suppose they got to raise that price. This is the town that denied having any connections to the mob, said 62-year-old John L. Smith, a prominent author and columnist whose family has been in Nevada since the 1880s. Now it's a town that's puts it on its billboards. As the museum makes clear, barrels were not unheard of among the mafia's body disposal methods. In 1976, John Roselli, a crime figure with Las Vegas ties, was found floating dead in one in Biscayne Bay outside of Miami. And Smith said in a column in the Nevada Independent that the discovery in Lake Mead also evoked memories of a cold case involving Johnny Pappas, who's a Chicagoan who went missing in Las Vegas in 1976. Pappas, whose underworld associations were noted when he disappeared, managed a resort on Lake Mead backed by a Teamsters pension fund and had been involved in Democratic politics. Back then, Las Vegas was a much smaller town where half the people were Connecticuted. They were connected and Connecticuted, by the way, or wanted you to think they were connected to the mob, Smith said. Other theories about the bodies also abound. David Kohlmeyer, a retired police officer who's now a podcaster and social media personality, who isn't these days, is offering a $5,000 reward to divers who find other remains in Lake Mead. The areas where the two bodies were found, he said, could have been dumping grounds connected to other crimes. I think this was gang-related in some way, but could mean it was a motorcycle gang, Kohlmeyer said. Either way, Travis Heggie, a former public risk management specialist for the U.S. National Park Service, said that Lake Mead stood out among national recreation areas and parks for its potential connection to criminal activity, along with places like Big Bend National Park on the border with Mexico. The criminal element of Las Vegas simply spills over into Lake Mead, said Heggie, who has long been fascinated about what lies at the reservoir's depths. Even if no more barrels with bodies in them are to turn up, he said, there's going to be a lot of guns and a lot of knives and a lot of wreckage. So there you go. Yeah.
I've heard numerous predictions. Somebody said it's a serial killer. Someone says the mob. It's so old and there's so many bodies probably in there.
Yeah, there's I bet a lot of stuff in Lake Mead. But I think that's true of any lake, especially in the land of 10,000 lakes or more here in Minnesota. Yeah. I think if you were to dredge or drain any lake in Minnesota, you'd find a lot of bodies.
Same here. There's Lake Nigawicko out here in Wisconsin, and Capone had a cabin on the lake, and he had a body shoot for it, and they think... Yeah.
Well, even White Bear Lake, where John Dillinger stayed.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm sure you'd find the same thing. A lot of bodies of a lot of people who crossed Dillinger. That's for sure.
A lot of cement shoes.
Yep. Ma Barker used to bake cookies or something like that on White Bear Lake.
Yeah, I think that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to bake cookies for the kids.
Yep.
Yeah, it's some twisted stuff. Well, that's where the mobsters from Chicago, they'd come up to Wisconsin, they'd come up to Minnesota, and they would vacation.
They come to vacation. Yeah, so they have vacation homes all over here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Between here in Minneapolis, there's Capone sightings all over, and Babyface Nelson, all of them.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy history up here.
And Vegas was built by the mob. I mean, you can't argue that. Bugsy Malone is credited for building Vegas, so of course they're going to find ways.
Bugsy Siegel.
You're right. Bugsy Siegel. I'm sorry. So yeah, they had to put the body somewhere.
Yep.
That's like if they took something and dredged the desert out there. I'm sure they'd hit a body every few yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one big graveyard out there. I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Finally today, Bruiser, we saved the best for last.
Okay.
I know we praised scientists last week. We drug them through the mud at the end. We got to drag them through the mud one more time.
Because they know everything.
That's right.
So they tell themselves.
I don't know if it deserves this theme or not. It's not AI.
No.
I just think this is badass.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Scientists get really surprised after gene editing experiments unexpectedly turn their hamsters into hyper-aggressive bullies.
So they made a bunch of jerks.
Yeah, jerk hamster, which, by the way, you can get in Jamaica. It's delicious. A team of neuroscientists were really surprised by the results of a gene editing experiment on hamsters. The team expected the elimination of vasopressin activity would make the hamsters behave more peacefully. Peace and love, man. Can you see the Kia commercials?
Hey, Chris, how's the hamster experiment going? He's covered in hamsters. Not as we planned.
Dude, they're not sitting by and smoking blunts with me, man. This is not going well.
I did not sign up for this.
Repeat, not going well.
And he's just got angry hamsters all over his face.
That is a great name for a band, Angry Hamsters.
Angry Hamsters. Yes.
They play old Alvin and the Chipmunks hits.
But they yell it. They do it like death metal style.
Yes, but it's all death metal, angry. Alvin and the Chipmunks
angry
hits.
chipmunk stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like the Christmas songs, but death metal.
Yes.
Dave, I want a hoop.
Instead, the gene-edited hamsters displayed high levels of aggression. They got little weight sets. They're just they're hanging and banging weights and
They're comparing their triceps and biceps to each other.
drinking a lot of protein shakes and talking about how good they
Putting
look.
their fists through a wall.
Eating steaks and weights, man. A team of neuroscience researchers were left really surprised, by the way, after that. Yeah. Georgia State University is where this is all going on, where they created those hyper-aggressive hamsters. The GSU research published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, which I get every week on Wednesday at my doorstep, 5 a.m., set out to find more about the biology behind the social behavior of mammals. Woo! The scientists used Syrian hamsters. They had to be Syrian hamsters.
I was going to say, they had to go Syrian, huh?
And CRISPR-Cas9, a revolutionary technology that makes it possible to turn on or off genes in cells. The technology knocked out a receptor of vasopressin, which is a hormone associated with enhanced aggression. The scientists anticipated that doing so would dramatically alter the social behavior of the Syrian hamsters, making them more peaceful.
So hey, man, did you turn down that Syrian stuff? Yeah, I turned it up. No, down. Wait, what?
Wait, hold it a minute, man. Down or up? Which one? Down or up? Dude, you're supposed to turn it. Wait, which one now? Down or up? Oh, I'm so confused, man.
We're so going to lose our funding, dude.
Now we got a bunch of jacked up hamsters running around asking who they can punch out.
This hamster keeps shoving me saying, how much you bench, huh? How much you bench?
You don't know nothing, man. You know nothing about this life. Why does he keep saying that to me?
This hamster over here just put on a leather jacket and started licking a switchblade. I don't know why.
So they're supposed to make them more peaceful. It did change their behavior, however, but now not how they had expected. He said, we were really surprised at the results. This is what the study's lead author,
We were way off.
Boy, man, we struck out on that one, said study's lead author, GSU professor H. Elliott Albers in the university statement. We anticipated that if we eliminated vasopressin activity, we would reduce both aggression and social communication. Albers continued, but the opposite happened. So we got a bunch of chatty Cathy weight bangers. Man, this is great. This is really great. Do you love it? I love it. Do you love it? The hamsters without receptors displayed high levels of aggression towards hamsters of the same sex compared to their counterparts with the receptors intact. So they're basically just hitting each other.
You looking at my girl? Huh? You looking at my girl?
This suggests a startling conclusion, Albers said, per the statement. Even though we know that vasopressin increases social behaviors by acting within a number of brain regions, it is possible that the more global effects of the AVPR1A receptor are inhibitory. The sure, now they're trying to sound smart about it. Okay,
now they're like, this is why we did it.
Okay, now that we effed up, we can tell you this.
Now that we were way off on our calculations.
The counterintuitive findings show that the scientists don't understand this system as well as they thought we did, Albers said.
Scientists are stupid.
Developing gene-edited hamsters was not easy, Albers went on. Dude, this was like really hard.
Me make gene therapy. Be good.
Dude, it was not hard to fuck up hamsters. I mean, it wasn't easy, but it was pretty hard.
Dude, Billy over there, it was like, as if, and we just went, yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to make a pissed off hamster without like taking away their food? He added that a better understanding of the role of vasopressin in social behavior is vital to helping scientists identify new treatment strategies for psychiatric disorders in humans, ranging from autism to depression. If you want to piss people off, just piss people off.
Yeah, just walk up and say a yo mama joke or something.
You don't have to take away their vasopressin to do it. We got a way to piss people off and make them aggressive. It's called steroids.
That's what they accidentally injected into these hamsters.
Yeah.
Man, their testosterone levels are 300 times what it's supposed to be. And their estrogen levels are negative 300. What's going on here?
But look at that one hamster in the corner. He's sipping water and spitting it up in the air and telling everybody it's time to play the game. I have no idea what he's doing.
This one just keeps throwing people through the wheel.
Yeah. It's great. Man, I don't know what's going on with those hamsters, but they got stuff going on.
Well, I know. They totally screwed up the formula.
Yeah, scientists, I tell you. They got nothing better going on.
Scientists are stupid.
Meanwhile, we got cancer and we got other things that need to be cured. But you know what? Jacked up hamsters.
Some hamsters.
Yeah, jacked up hamsters. That's what we need. We need more of that in life, Bruiser.
We do. We need more jacked up hamsters. I'm just waiting to see a hamster walk up and deliver me a package from Amazon because they learned to like make it into a drone.
He walks up and goes, I got a package here for a BS80 Bruiser.
That would be me. Yeah, where's my tip?
So you wrestle, huh? You think you can take me, huh, big boy? You know, I used to be a lab rat. I do pretty good for myself.
They messed with my gene pheromones or whatever that is there.
Yeah, hey,
what do you got?
You ever seen arms like this on a rat? Yeah, take a look at it. Take a look at that.
Yeah, see, when I was in the lab there, good old Billy, he could fit 9 walnuts in his mouth. Me? I said, yeah, 9. I shoved 12. What you got?
You ever seen you know how much I can bench? I can bench 4 walnuts. How much can you bench? Take a look at these arms.
Just set the new record on the wheel. 3,000 rotations in 1 minute. What you got?
Yeah. How good's your cardio there, Bruiser? Just saying.
I created a whole gang of like hoodlum hamsters.
Hoodlum hamsters. That's another great band name.
Yes.
Hoodlum.
You want some protection? You pay us protection money, all right? Otherwise, Knuckles over here is going to trash the place.
All I know is this is the safest lab in all the labs. You come over here, we'll look after you. It's going to cost you, though.
Petey over there, Professor Petey will tell you, we're pretty safe.
He shakes a lot, but it's a nervous condition. He's had it since he was a kid. We don't know why he shakes so much.
Look at all those chimps. That's respect. That's respect those chimps are giving us.
That's right. Those chimps over there, they're good people. Anyways, that'll do it for today's program. We hope you enjoyed today's program. Supernatural News Wednesday. By the way, we like more of your Parashare. Thank you. Keep them coming. Tim@darknessradio.com. We'll get that number thing fixed. We'll get you a new number here soon enough where you can call in and tell us your Parashare stories. We'd like to hear your lovely voices as well. But in the meantime, Tim@darknessradio.com. We want to hear your Parashare stories. We wish you, Bruiser, all the best in your move this weekend, my friend. Safe travels and get those items moved into the house quickly. Bruiser will not be with us next Wednesday. We'll have a different guest co-host. Still working on it. Don't know if it's going to be Mally or Jessica, but we'll have one of those two lovely ladies.
Neither one are good replacements.
Yep. But we'll have a special guest host for you next week for Supernatural News. Tomorrow's show, maybe a little bit of a crapshoot. We have John G. Hughes lined up. We're supposed to be talking about healing practices of the Knights Templar and Hospitalier. We're going to talk plants, charms, and amulets and healers of the Crusades, and other types of subjects about the Knights Templar. But he's in Ireland, and he's warned us we do have a little bit of an internet issue, so we may go with a backup plan if John's connection is not solid. So, but we're gonna try it with John tomorrow on tomorrow's program. Otherwise, we'll have a backup plan for John tomorrow. So that'll do that for tomorrow.
All right.
For Darkness Radio. For Beer City Bruiser, I'm Tim Dennis. Thank you so much for joining us today for Supernatural News. We will see you tomorrow on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.